Here I'll tell you a word from the Kozhnitz Magid and the Sfas Emes, and it's all the same word, but they didn't articulate it. They articulated the way they used to articulate it. The Kozhnitz Magid, right? Kozhnitz Magid has a sefer called Avodas Yisrael. Kozhnitz Magid was a contemporary and a colleague of the Balatanya. They were both students of the Magid of Mizrich. Kozhnitz Magid passed away 2 years after him, Tov Kuf Ayin Hey, 1815. And in Kozhnitz is a city in Poland. He has a sefer Avodas Yisrael, one sefer. He says over there, there's a medrash. It's actually medrash Rabbi in Parshas Vayetze. It's also brought in Targum Yonis and Ben Uziah. That when Leah married Yaakov, and Yaakov was deceived, so it says Vayarba Boiker, in the morning, Yaakov woke up, and he sees Leah, V'hinehi Leah, and he goes running to Lavan, and he says, Lamari misani, why did you deceive me? So what happens is, the question is, did Yaakov say anything to Leah? Or he just went straight to Lavan? Pasuk doesn't say he said anything to Leah. But you and I think, would guess that he probably said something to Leah when he saw what happened. What did he say? You got to figure it out on your own. Torah Shebeksav is full of gaps, and it leaves it up to your imagination. And it wants it that way. It wants you to use your imagination. Torah Shebal Pes sometimes fills in the gap, sometimes not. Here it happens to fill in the gap. So the Medrash Rabbah says, and the Targum Yonis Ben Uziel brings it, so this is a very ancient tradition, that Yaakov actually looked at Leah, and he said, as we would say in English, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Your father is a quintessential crook, and you're Osa. Why did you lie to me? Leah, as a good Jewish wife would do, does not remain quiet. She responds. And her response is also the response of a real Jewish wife. She says to Yaakov, every trade in the world requires mentorship. You can't become a doctor without a teacher. You can't become even a barber without a teacher. There's no sapper. There's no barber who doesn't have a teacher. To be a liar, you also need a teacher. My father and I had a great mentor. I'm going to tell you about him. He was an old man who couldn't see. He summoned his oldest son to give him the blessings. The younger boy dressed up like the older boy, lied to his father, and said, I am the older brother, and stole the blessings. He is the one who taught us how to lie. This is a Medrash Rabbah, Targum Yonis, Medrash Rabbah says it, Medrash Rabbah, Parsha Ayin, says this story. Okay? Now you understand why Yaakov went running to Lavan. Yeah. So, on one level, this is like a classic Jewish marriage, right? You said, I said. He says something to Leah. Leah says, you want to go that direction? My mouth is a little better than yours. And she gives it to him, and his kishkas turn over, and he learns his lesson. Behave. In this house, you're going to behave. Okay, on one level. But on another level, it's incomprehensible. What is Leah saying? I lied to you. You lied to me in a business deal, and I ask you, why do you lie? So you tell me, because I lied to somebody else. Let's say to my father. 1 second. So, if somebody lied in the world, whenever I deal with him, I'm allowed to lie because he lied to somebody else. Yaakov asked a good question. Why do you lie? Why do you say you're Rachel? You're not. So Leah said, oh, you lied to your father. It's not a mature response. It's not a worked out. It's not an ethical response. It's more of an anger response. It's like, oh, really? I'm the liar, you're the liar. And I bring up a story from your childhood or from your youth. Well, so anyone in a therapy session, you understand that they're in a certain space. They're not talking to each other. They're not having a conversation with each other. They're in a space. They're in a zone of anger, a zone of hate, a zone of fear, whatever it is. There's no communication here. It's just who's gonna give a better shtech in Yiddish. You know what a shtech is, yeah? Who'll give a better stab. That's what it's about. It happens to be, in this case, Leah won. So the Kozhnitz Magid writes, Avodas Yisrael, he says this clearly. He says, I'll tell you the pshat. It's very deep, he says. Leah was not running away from the question. She was answering the question. What was the answer to the question? The answer was this. Yaakov said, why did you lie? Why did you say you're Rachel? So Leah said, you told your father you're Eisav. My shidduch is Eisav. The moment you told your father that you're Eisav, automatically you turned me into Rachel. Automatically you made me your wife. That's it. Sfasemes, who lives 100 years later, second Ger Rebbe, writes, Koshnitz Magid concealed what he wanted to say. Or the writer didn't hear it right. That's what Sfasemes says. He quotes, says, either he histir hadvarim, he didn't say what he wanted to say, or the writer didn't get it. So Sfasemes says, I'm going to tell you what he wanted to say. Actually, he says the pshat, and then he says that maybe this is what he wanted to say, because he concealed what he wanted to say, or the writer didn't get it. What does Sfasemes say? Sfasemes says, Leah is connected to Eisav. Yaakov is connected to Rachel. When Yaakov got dressed up in the garments of Eisav, it wasn't just external. He was taking in the soul of Eisav. The moment he was taking in the soul of Eisav, a part of him became Eisav. If a part of him became Eisav, that part of him now had to get married to Leah. So Yaakov of Yaakov had to marry Rachel, and the Leah of Yaakov had to marry, and the Eisav of Yaakov had to marry Leah. And Sfasemes is very short, very brief, very cryptic, very concise, as many of the Hasidic works. Now you read this Koshin Samagid, you read this Sfasemes, quite interesting, quite original, quite creative. Fascinating explanation to the Medrash. Leah was actually saying something very profound. Yaakov, you're the one who established this entire issue. Destiny created me for Eisav, and therefore when you became Eisav, I'm your shidduch. But fine, so it's all interesting, but what does it mean? What's the point? So generally in the world of Chassidus, there were two streams of Chassidus, as we once discussed at length, and that is what's known as the various students of the Mezritcha Magid, who all wrote one or two books at most, and everything were pointers, powerful, inspiring pointers, whether it's about stories of Chumash or about a neshama, about Hashem and a Jew. Balatanya's shitta was that things have to be explained and explained elaborately, which is why he named it Chabad, which is Chachma Bina Das. And that's why you see, for example, he himself has around 40 works. Most of his colleagues have one or two. And his Maimarim are very long and explained and everything. So when you learn this, these Maimarim, and then you read that, you understand here that there's really a profound story being conveyed. Eisav belongs to Leah, Leah belongs to Eisav, not stamps, a mazel. It's because Eisav's and Leah's neshamas are deeply connected. In fact, Leah comes from a similar source. A concealed world, a higher world, a sublimated. They're both hated. Both cannot be understood. Leah is the shidduch for Eisav, not Rachel. You put Rachel with Eisav, it's not happening. You put Yaakov with Leah. What Rivka was telling Yaakov was, it would be awesome, but your brother's kalim broke. Your father wants to bring down the makif, but his kalim broke. So either the energy of your father, Yitzchak, is going to be swallowed up, or there won't be an Eisav anymore. He'll become a zombie, a robot. It'll just burn him up. The light will burn him up. There won't be an Eisav. So therefore you have to take the blessings for Eisav. So in other words, you have to find your own Eisav. If you cannot find your own Eisav, you will not be able to take his blessings. You won't be able to help him. And that's why you have to get dressed up like him. It's not a costume. It's not a Purim costume. A costume, generally, in this context, a costume means a way of expressing yourself. To put on the levushim of Eisav means to relate to Eisav. It doesn't mean you become Eisav completely, but it means there's something in you that's relatable to Eisav. I can put on your garments means I could see things from your perspective. I could put on your glasses. I can wear your shoes. I could put on your pants. I could wear your shirt. I could walk your life somewhat. So in other words, Yaakov has to have a shtickle Eisav. He will ultimately have to be mevarer toihu. So if that happens, Leah says, okay, Yaakov, so now you have two wives. The Yaakov in you has Rachel, and the Eisav in you has Leah. But after 20 years, Yaakov now wonders whether his brother is ready to he could give him over what he was holding on to. It's really his brother's, so let him give it over. So that's the context of this Maimer Vayishlach, that after this whole story, okay, I took it. But now, let me tell you where I've been, and let's come back together. I worked very hard for 20 years. What were you doing for 20 years, Eisav? That's the question that he poses here.